Hello and welcome back to Sullivan County 4-H Learn by Doing Houseplant Edition series. And today is the last video of this series, but we're going to wrap up this series by going back to Stories Never Sink Plant Company and speaking with Diana. And she is going to show us how to repot a plant and give us tips and tricks on watering and fertilizing, as well as plant selection and grooming. And Diana has been a part of the horticulture industry in pretty much every facet that you can think of. She's been a student, she's been a volunteer, a teacher, a coordinator. She's worked with houseplants, she's worked with cut flower gardens, she's worked with garden installations and vegetables. So she's just a wealth of knowledge, and she's going to share some of that with us today. So I hope that you enjoy a visit to Never Sink Plant Company, where we're going to be speaking with Diana.
Hi, I'm Diana Weiner from Stories Never Sink Plant Company in Never Sink, New York, and we're in the greenhouse today, and we're going to learn about repotting plants. We thought we would take a common plant like a geranium, and there's many different types of geraniums. As you can see, different types of leaves. Some leaves are actually scented and smell pretty, different color flowers, and then different colorations on the leaves as well. It's an easy house plant that most of us have for the summer. It's pretty easy to take care of. All you need to do is water it and keep the soil moist. And when the flowers have finished blooming, you just need to go down to the base of the plant and pinch the old flower off. And you can see there's a new one coming here. But today we're going to learn about repotting the plants. These plants are in plastic pots. You could also use a more decorative, a little bit heavier clay pot as well. Totally up to you. You want to make sure you have a saucer to put the pot on so that when you water, the water can go into the saucer, unless you're going to go bring it over to the sink and water it in the sink. The saucer will catch the water and make things a lot neater for you. If you have a plastic pot, maybe you don't want a clay saucer, you can easily purchase plastic saucers, or you can just use a saucer from a cup and saucer, depending on the size of your pot. Be creative with that one. When you do pot your plants, you should not use the soil that's outdoors in our yards. You should use a potting soil that actually isn't a soil at all. It is a mixture of peat moss, and the white is perlite, and it has vermiculite, which is little shiny pieces of mica, and it is very light, very airy, and the roots could easily grow through it. It also doesn't have any of the insects, insect eggs, or other things that may be in our native soils. So it makes it a surefire, a positive way of you being successful in repotting a houseplant. So what you need to do is go usually one pot larger. So here is a 4-inch pot with a geranium in it, and we are going to pot it up into a 6-inch pot, which is the next size up in the industry called horticulture, where this is done every day. So we have our potting soil, we have our plant. Now don't be afraid. We're going to turn the plant upside down, but we're going to keep our hand over and around the plant. We're going to kind of hug it and cuddle it, and we're going to squeeze the pot so that we loosen the soil. And now here comes the magic. We're going to turn it upside down, whoops, and we are going to put it into our larger pot. So have your larger pot filled with some soil, but not all the way to the top, because we need to get this plant in here. We want to put it in the center of the pot. And then we want to take some soil. You can use a pot to do that, or you can just use your hands. You want to lift the leaves up, and you want to place the soil around in the pot. It needs some more. We want to put enough soil in so we leave about an inch of soil from the tip of the pot, the top of the pot, to the plant. So I like to bang it, and that kind of settles the soil, and you can see if you need to add any more, and I do. At this point, if any older bottom leaves have fallen off, don't worry about it. They were going to come off as the plant matures and grows anyway. So now it's in the center of the pot. I'm actually going to take this flower that's just going to start, and I'm going to remove it. I could do it with my hands or just use a sharp pair of scissors. Let's give you a visual of removing any flowers that are on the newly potted plant, only because we want the energy of the new growth to go into making roots and not new flower growth. So that is important when you're doing this with a geranium or other flowering plants. Remove the flowers when you repot it. The other thing you really need to do so that this plant can grow lush and quickly is add fertilizer. This is a blue fertilizer. It is your Miracle Grow is a common name. I'm not purporting any specific one, but this is the type that you add a teaspoon to a quart of water, or a tablespoon to a gallon of water, and you mix it together, and now you have this blue water that you would water the plant with. What I like to use, because I call it the lazy man's way of fertilizing, I like to use the slow release fertilizer, and these are pellets. And you would use these pellets, just placing them, and it's usually, and the directions will tell you how many tablespoons per inch of pot. So we have a 6-inch pot, so we're going to use about a teaspoon, which I have in my tablespoon measure here, and I'm just going to sprinkle it around the soil. And at this point, water. So let me get that saucer underneath. When I water, the fertilizer is going to be released slowly every time I water, starting today, and it's going to fertilize the plants, fertilize the roots that are in the soil. So we want to give it a good drink. And a good drink means that you are going to water it, I like to say not once, but twice. The first time you water it, the water is going to go down through that soil, and maybe a little bit might come out, but not enough. So we're going to water it one more time, and we're going to make sure that all of the water has percolated all the way through that soil so that the roots can look for moisture as the soil dries out. So here, the water is dripping out of the holes in the bottom of the pot. Very important. You can even try one more time to put that soil in and watch it come out. One of the challenges of keeping a plant alive is making sure that you keep it watered perfectly, and that can be a trial, but I like to go by the weight of the pot. So right after you water this, you can feel how heavy this pot is. It's full of soil, got a little plant in it, and it's got a lot of water. As the plant starts to dry out, the top of the soil will become light brown. You could stick your finger in up to your second knuckle and see if it's dry. You could tell by the weight of the pot if it's really light. And then you would say, it's time to water. This feels light. When I stick my finger in the soil, about second knuckle in, it definitely feels dry. So you want to water it before it totally dries out, giving it a good water once, good water twice. So today we've learned that we could use plastic pots or clay pots. We've learned that our potting soil isn't soil at all. We've learned about the different types of fertilizers that we can use, and to protect furniture and things in the house using a saucer to collect the water. And we learned about removing the flowers when we're planting. And then further care of the plant. Pretend this is now a month and a half later and it's grown this big. We just want to make sure we deadhead our flowering plants. And again, go to the base of the flower and you can either break it off like that. There's a little snap that happens with geraniums, or you can go in with your scissors and just cut at the base and take those that have finished flowering off so that it will encourage more flowers to come on. We don't want the flowers to go to seed. We want to make more flowers and have it last all season. These geraniums can be grown as houseplants. You can grow them in a sunny window during the winter, and then you could have them year after year. Many years ago, people would, and still do, put them in their basement. They take all the soil, most of the soil off the root system, hang them upside down, and then about April, bring them out of the cellar and pot them up and wake them up for the year. So they can last a very long time. So, Diana Weiner from Stories Never Sink Plant Company, don't be afraid, repot that plant.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this video series, and I hope that you have found it helpful. It's inspired you to really get into houseplants yourself and to really explore all of the thousands of options out there and to find a houseplant that's right for you. I look forward to hopefully seeing some of your houseplant at the Sullivan County Youth Fair in August. Don't forget to continue to check out our Cornell Cooperative Extension Sullivan County social media pages and to like and subscribe to our Facebook page, our Instagram, and our YouTube page for more helpful videos or advice on your plants. And don't forget to check out the link below for additional information or project ideas for Sullivan County 4-H. Thank you again for joining me for these last couple of weeks while we explore houseplants, and I wish you all the best of luck and, as always, happy growing.